Hi, it's Dr. Katie Deming, and I wanted to come on and talk today about fear and how fear may be a real challenge for you either during your treatment or after your treatment has finished. And I think that it's normal. So, the first thing is it's so normal to feel afraid, to feel fear, to feel worry when you're dealing with cancer or when you finish treatment. So, the first thing is acknowledging that, like, this is your mind doing what it's supposed to do, is scanning for danger and telling you all of the things that can go wrong. So, nothing's gone wrong if you're afraid or if you're fearful or if you're worried. But the thing that's important to note is that even though fear and worry can be useful initially because it gets you to seek care and it gets you into the hands of people who can help you, once you've sought care, fear is often not helpful and actually can be detrimental to your life, and also making the best decisions for your care. Because when you're afraid or when you're worried, you actually don't think as well as you do when you're not afraid. And also, it can affect your memory. So, people don't remember things when they're afraid, which is part of the reason why when you saw your doctor in the beginning that you may not remember anything that he or she says because you're afraid. And when you're afraid, you can't absorb information and you can't remember things. So that's another way that fear can be detrimental. Another thing is that fear interferes with your sleep and rest, which is critical to also make good decisions in your life. And it can also affect your eating and nutrition, which also obviously is important to, you getting through your treatment or just being healthy in general. So there's so many ways that fear is not helpful for you, and yet it feels like it's just inevitable that you're going to be afraid all the time. And so I want you to know that even though it's normal to be afraid, and this is what your body normally does to protect itself, is scan for danger and then tell you everything that could go wrong, there are ways that you can reduce fear and create feelings that are different from fear so that you can have the outcomes that you want. And so one of the things to recognize is that fear is just an emotion or a vibration in your body, nothing more. So when you feel fear, it literally is just a vibration. The fear itself is not something to be afraid of, right? If you sit with that fear, it's not going to kill you, but it feels like it's going to kill you. And so the first thing that I help my patients recognize is that fear is just an emotion in your body. It's a vibration that you're feeling. And that if you learn to sit with it and process it and take a few deep breaths, it often will dissipate. It probably won't go away completely, but that's the start, is to kind of sit with it and to allow it, not to judge it. So not to think to yourself, oh, why am I afraid? I shouldn't be afraid. I have nothing to be afraid of. Everything's fine. Is to say, of course I'm afraid. My body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do to protect me. Of course it's afraid. I'm afraid. And then allow yourself to sit and breathe through that emotion. Usually like a minute or two, and you'll start to notice that wherever you're holding that emotion in your body, it will start to lessen. And then the next thing to recognize is that actually the fear is not coming from the cancer. It's coming from your thoughts that you're having about the cancer. And we have more control over our thoughts than we think we do. And so the first step is really recognizing, okay, what thought is causing me to feel fearful? And so it may be, I'm going to die. It may be, I don't want to leave my children. It may be, I'm too young. It could be anything. but really writing down all of those thoughts that are bringing up that fear for you can be really helpful. Number one, just to get them out in front of you so you can see what are the thoughts you're having. And then the next thing that you can do is look at those thoughts and see, are they serving you? So look at the thoughts you're having and say, are these thoughts serving me? Are they making me feel better or worse? And if they're causing fear, they're often not serving you. And so it's always available to you to choose a different thought. So once you've recognized the thoughts that you're having and that you've decided they don't serve you, the next thing is to choose a thought that would serve you in this moment. And one of the things that I find particularly helpful is to choose a thought that is something tied to something that you have control over. So for example, you have control over the things that you're doing for your body. Whether you're in treatment or after treatment, there are things that you are doing that are good for you that you can have positive thoughts about every time you do them. For example, when you come in for treatment, you can say, I feel healthy and strong when I have my treatments. Or, I feel healthy and strong when I eat healthy foods, when I nourish my body with good foods, when I exercise, when I spend time with those people that I love, I feel healthy and well. So you can play around and see what would work for you, but those things that you're doing that are really good for your health and your body, if you can choose a thought that's tied to that, that often can help provide a substitute to that thought that is causing your fear. And then what you'll notice is that thought will often give you a new feeling. And so oftentimes we're looking for a feeling of confidence or grounding or feeling healthy. And you can choose that the feeling that you're looking for. But the idea is to choose a thought that gives you a feeling that serves you better than the fear. And the last thing that I want to say about this is that it's really important that you don't judge yourself for having these thoughts and feelings. Self-compassion is so important for you to move past the fear. And so saying to yourself, it's totally normal. It's okay. Not judging the fact that you're having those thoughts. Say like, okay, my brain's just doing what it's supposed to do, scanning for danger, and it's okay. And being kind to yourself, like, of course you're upset. Of course you're scared. This is scary. And really having that level of self-compassion for yourself that you would have for a friend or a loved one who's going through this. And there are great resources. I really like doing loving kindness meditations or self-compassion meditations. They're a really good way to get in touch with the compassion within yourself and then allowing yourself to turn that inwards and then grow it. So there are apps like Insight Timer or Calm. You can just look up loving kindness or self-compassion meditations that can be really, really helpful for you. So please don't beat yourself up about being afraid. And I hope that you find this helpful. Let me know, leave a comment. Let me know if it's helpful for you. Okay, take care.